Welcome back, gear nerds. Today we are going to have a look at how we use the foot switches and also get into perform mode, which is really what the foot switches are all about. There's a couple of idiosyncrasies about how this works, how these work, and how these two knobs interact. But hopefully this will all make sense to you. Firstly, let's just do one thing here, which is show you how to use the tuner. The tuner is accessed in select mode, and you hold down these two buttons. And there you go, that's my E string's a little bit flat. You can hit any key to get out of that mode. Now, what do the foot switches do? So in select mode, what we are doing is navigating around the H90 and selecting a program to use. It does it in two different ways. So one way it does it is with these up and down. You see these little triangles, up and down buttons, and the activate switch. So firstly, remember, this is all for select mode. We're going to do something completely different in perform mode, so it's slightly confusing. In select mode, this foot switch always turns the program on and off. Now, one of the nice features about the H90 is it has complete spillover between programs. That means that while you are selecting, well, sorry, that's not the only thing it means, but one of the things it means is while you are selecting another program, you can still keep playing the old one. So here is this. Got a bit too much wow and flutter on that tape echo, but anyway, here is the dimension program which I've created. Now look, I can press this, I can move up to another one. I'm still playing my old program, and this is flashing now, waiting for us to select it. So imagine we're playing a song, play, 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 and then boom. We're now into a new program. Sorry, got carried away with those Pink Floyd vibes. So, so there we go. So down and up. That's it. Really simple. Now, there are two modes to select. If we hold it down, as it helpfully says on the front here, bank hold. If we hold it down, we're going to move into bank mode. Now, bank mode operates a bit more like the Strymon model of things, which is that it makes up bank numbers. These are whatever. And now we have program in that slot. Then we have another program in that slot. And then we have another program in that slot. And we can bypass now with each of these individual buttons. Quite a funky changeover between the two. It sort of slips between the two. I think there's a setting for that. Anyway, so I would say, it depends on how you want to use it, but I would say I would stick, remember, press and hold to switch between these two settings. I would stick with this, where it's just up and down, and select if you want it. Now, I would have thought that you need to select between programs while you are performing, but you can't. So you have to switch between the two modes if you were on stage and you needed to switch between the two. Now, there are a variety of other helpful settings in perform mode, and hopefully I can demonstrate those for you now. In fact, I'm going to just move back to the to this preset just to help us understand it. So now here's the exciting part. This is where we get into the switches when they have different settings depending on the screen up here. So the default, when I switch to perform mode, the default is that the switches are controlling the program, the preset in A and the preset in B. So again, I always like to think of this as slot A, slot B. Every program has 2 slots and they flow into each other depending on how you set up the routing. So we have our program and we can turn it off. And rather helpfully, the screen tells you what the status is. The program is bypassed, but the 2 presets are active. So I can turn my delay off on this one. Or vice versa. I've got the delay but no chorus. And I can bring the chorus back in. So the perform mode, the first default setting is program on and off, which by the way you can do from the select screen, but also now we can preset A or preset B, we can turn them on and off interactively while we're performing. Now, just like with the quick knobs, there are 2 screens. You see this little square up here. There are 2 sets of 3 foot switches, which I can access in a variety of ways. I've done it the wrong way. You tap, and now there's another set of foot switches that we can use. In the second mode, I would recommend you do it like this. You can have multiple different foot switch actions depending on what you set on the screen, and you set it by tapping these individual LED buttons. Now, previously I've spoken about tap tempo, so there you go. You could have a tap tempo on here. The other thing is, for each of the algorithms, there's usually some special setting. Look, swirl on the Tricerachorus, and this one says repeats. I quite like that. That's fun. So, oh, actually, I'm not sure. Yeah, let's stick with repeat. So this one sends it into infinite repeat. So there you go. And because it says M, it means it's momentary. So when I take my foot off, the repeats stop. I can't really demonstrate the swirl because I'm not really playing, but there's an additional type of phasing that goes in on that algorithm. So I would suggest something like this. So you get tap tempo here, you get some sort of hot switch. No, don't say hot switch. We'll get onto that. That's a nightmare. Some sort of special setting, I've forgotten what they call it, and some sort of special setting for our delay. Now, this is, and then we can switch back, active, program active, preset A, active, which is our chorus, and preset B, which is our delay. We can switch that or go back here, tap the tempo in, swirl, or hold on to infinite repeats. And these are different depending, obviously, on the program. Now, not the only annoying thing. So a couple of annoying things are, we're in perform mode. We can't select another program until we go back to select mode, which to me seems a little bit annoying. The other thing is you can't access the tuner. So if you press these 2 buttons down, nothing happens. I won't demo it, but you can't. I have tried it before I recorded this. You can't access the tuner, which strikes me as the tuner would be something you'd want to access while you're performing between songs. Okay, now there is another thing called a hot switch. Oh my goodness, right. Now the hot switch I'm actually not going to cover on here, but it's a little bit like the hot knob. So if you remember from the hot knobs discussion, A hot knob is the way of incorporating a number of different settings, a number of different parameters from any of your effects and changing them all at the same time. And that's exactly what a hot switch does. So just to cover it briefly, to summarize, what you need to do is program a hot switch, of which you have, I think, 3. Program a hot switch, and then you assign it in perform mode. So here, say we wanted a hot switch on button A. Here we are, you see, hot switch 2 off. So we can program that to be the hot switch. And the hot switch will be any number of parameters that we want to change all at the same time. So say we wanted to change the time of our delay and the depth of the modulation on the chorus. Say we were coming up for our big solo and we wanted to boost the level. We can do all of those things with one hot switch all at once, which I think if you are performing does make a lot of sense as something, but it is complicated to set up. And if you're a home player, it's not worth it at all. It's not worth it at all. So I think we've covered everything on the foot switches. So just to recap, 2 ways of selecting things: up and down and on and off, or bank mode, which you hold down there and then you can select between each of these. You can also turn them on and off. If you're in perform mode, you get 6 different options, which you can change just by tapping on these and changing it to be whatever you want it to be. Just one small tip: when it says M, it means momentary, which means as long as you hold it down, it's active, but when you let go, it comes up. And L, which I hope it's going to show me an L. It doesn't show an L. There is another L on here, which means latching. It holds onto it. Let's just, for fun, let's just do this one. Self-oscillation. What's going to happen? Well, that was okay, but it wasn't incredible fun. It could have been a lot funner than that. Okay, guys, thanks very much. If you've got something from the video, please click the like button and hit the subscribe. I'm working my way towards 1,000 subscribers, so I would be really grateful if you could hit that subscribe button. And see you next time for loads more nerdy content like this. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.